Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Paul Enos, filling in for Sam Shad. Today, we are going to be talking investments, scholarships with our state treasurer, Zach Conine. That's next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
40 years ago, Hotel California and the theme from Rocky were #1 on the pop charts, and D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal started on the road to becoming Nevada's leading roofing company.
I couldn't be more proud of what we've achieved.
And over these 40 years, we've become an employee-owned company. So when you're talking to any employee, you're talking to an owner.
And here's to the next 40 years.
Happy 40th birthday, D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Nearly 200,000 Nevadans work in retail businesses, supporting families and the community. Nevada's retail businesses generated over $2 billion in sales tax revenue in 1 year, including nearly $700 million to help our schools. Shop around and see all that Nevada's retailers offer our state.
We're the Retail Association of Nevada, representing thousands of Nevada businesses.
Businesses that work for Nevada.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are here with our brand new, I can still say brand new, right?
You can say brand new.
Been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Our brand new state treasurer, Zach Conine. Zach, welcome to Nevada Newsmakers.
Thanks for having us.
So, hey, I just want to introduce you to, our viewers out there. So, they kind of get to know who you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you decided you want to be treasurer.
Absolutely. So I grew up in upstate New York, small town, farm country. We had 1.5 traffic lights. That's a full traffic light and a blinker. And I went to school in upstate New York at a place called Cornell, the hotel school.
Never heard of it.
It's a little place, kind of in the woods. We just got electricity. Really excited about that. And I moved out west, like so many people do, in search of opportunity. I got recruited to run a restaurant in Laughlin. And so I moved into Laughlin August 28th of 2003. As I was driving in, the little thermostat on my car was telling me the exterior temperature, and it said, 120, 121, 123, and it just started saying error over and over again. So it was pretty hot. And I was in Laughlin for a few months, and then after that I got moved up to Las Vegas to work at the Golden Nugget in downtown for the two owners. And I got kind of thrown into the deep end of the casino industry, learning all the different departments with my hospitality background. That was great. Became a director of strategic planning at 23, and then stayed on with that property after we sold it.
So you are, just so our viewers know, you kind of followed, our president's foray into politics, being a reality star first, and then, getting into, I'm sure you love that comparison, right?
Yeah, no, I think probably the only two things I share with the president, maybe three things, is that my wife is stunning, that I come from New York and was in the hospitality business, and that we both know Mark Burnett. I think that's probably the extent of the similarities.
Okay, was that a challenge? Just kind of go a little bit behind the curtain with that. Most reality shows I know are fake, right?
Sure.
Did you get,
Totally fake.
Totally fake.
Totally fake. Totally fake. We used it as a marketing tool, right? We were trying to put the Golden Nugget back on the map, and so we brought a bunch of people to the property, and they were entertained and helped us on a revenue side, and I was 23 and happy to never do it again.
Good to know. So you decided to get into this, fun realm. You ran for assembly, 2016.
Yes.
And I was very excited. I'm like, hey, I got a Democrat who understands business. Fantastic. Great, Zach.
Well, the good thing is the Democrat who beat me in the primary, Assemblywoman Bilber Axelrod, also understands business, has become a good friend. But that election was really interesting to me because it helped me meet all sorts of different players, helped me understand what the world of politics was kind of like in Nevada, coming from the private sector. After the casino business, I worked for restaurant companies, I worked at a hedge fund. I had a pretty good idea of the private sector, but it gave me a good foray into public sector. And also it gave me the energy. There's nothing quite like the feeling of knocking on a door, meeting a voter, and talking to them about how their lives could be better, and then knowing that there's a lever you can pull to do that. And so when the opportunity came up, when the next election cycle was there and people started reaching out and saying, hey, this job, the treasurer's office matches your skill set. We could use someone in there who both understands the value of investing from a financial standpoint, but also understands the value of investing in people and in systems. It just made a lot of sense. And so we did it.
So I want to get into some of this really quick, but just tell folks, what the role of the treasurer is, because I think, oh yeah, that's the guy that watches the money, writes the checks,
sure,
right? So just kind of give people a little bit of an idea of what your constitutional role is.
Absolutely. So there are two financial officers set up by the Constitution. There is the controller, my good friend Catherine Byrne, who sits right across the hall, and the treasurer. The controller is the one that provides the accounting functions to the office. They make sure that the money that's supposed to be spent gets spent. They make sure that the books balance and everything else. Exceptionally important job. What the treasurer does, the treasurer invests that money and works on preserving and protecting capital. So there's obviously a delay between the time that tax revenues, whatever the source is, come in and the time that the government spends them. And during that time, we take about $2.6 billion and invest it in incredibly secure and stable assets so that we can bring in some return. The Treasurer's Office is one of the state agencies that actually adds money into the general fund, which is something we're very proud of. And, so we manage that. Right, we manage the investment side. And obviously to manage the investment side, you have to manage the cash side. So the Treasurer's Office provides all the merchant services, credit card swiping for the entire government, manage that process, make sure that the cash coming in matches the cash going out.
I remember that was a challenge, a dozen or so years ago,
sure,
looking at all the huge interchange fees.
And it still is, right? In my private life, I had a chance to work for a credit card processor for a little bit of time. And that business is exceptionally complicated, probably more complicated than it needs to be. But it's also a fantastic area of opportunity, right? So there's always ways for the state to look to save money. There are fun agreements to negotiate if you're like me. And so we constantly look for opportunities there. So outside of investments and cash management, there's also debt. And debt is one of the ways that the government uses to pay for things over a long period of time. Primarily when we float bonds, we're doing a 20-year issuance. And actually just today, we were excited to go and present that our affordability for the next biennium was about $200 million. Not even about, exactly $200 million. And that's up from about 140 in the biennium in the past.
All right, we are talking with Zach Conine, our state treasurer. Brand new state treasurer. I'm going to say that until we meet again. And when I come back, I want to just talk about what that debt affordability means. Just put that in context for folks. We're going to be right back on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia. Yeah.
How do you shed some light on a better economy? Start with growth inspired by Valley Electric Association. We're a member-owned power company that puts Nevada first, and we're doing big things, like providing prosperity by securing renewable energy projects. For Nevada, that means more jobs and more opportunities, all for a strong statewide economy. In other words, together, we're doing powerful things. Visit us at vea.coop to learn more.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are here with our brand new state treasurer, Zach Conine. And Zach, before we left, for a commercial break, the folks paying for the show, you talked about our debt affordability, that we did have an increase of $60 million or so. So, okay, what does debt affordability mean? Just to put it in context for viewers out there.
Absolutely. So one of the things that the state treasurer's office does is we go through projections of property tax revenue. And a piece of property tax revenue is able to be used to fund capital improvement projects. It's part of the CIP budget. And we go through and look at those numbers. We look at projected amounts that are going to come in from mineral rights. And those two numbers add up together to give us the amount of money that the state is going to have to sponsor future debt service.
Now, people don't know this. Mineral rights are kind of property taxes too. I mean, in a constitutional sense.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We look at them slightly differently because based on the fluctuations in
the net proceeds.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that number can fluctuate a little bit more. So we touch that differently than we touch property tax revenue, which we feel generally pretty good about for a biennium. So when that process goes through, it spits out a number at the end, and that number was $60 million more this biennium than us, which lets the governor and the legislature have more money to spend on capital improvement projects, which is the type of investment that I think generally most Nevadans feel good about, right? We're investing in a new building or a new program. We're adding to that asset base that'll be around for generations.
All right. One of the other things that the state treasurer, that we see advertisements. It's the college savings account.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 529.
The 529s, the You Promise.
Yeah, the You Promise. So, talk to us about what the treasurer's role is in those programs.
Yeah. So those programs were originally put in the treasurer's office because the treasurer is the chief investment officer of the state, and those are large public trusts, not in a kind of legal sense. They're large public responsibilities where we're taking and investing dollars and finding managers for dollars, both for Nevadans and for people in other states who have chosen our program to invest in. And the goal is to simply increase the opportunity for individuals to go to some sort of education post-high school. From a private sector standpoint, one of the most difficult things one of the most difficult issues to overcome when it comes to bringing new businesses to Nevada is the quality of our workforce and finding talented individuals to fill these roles. And by increasing educational opportunity through a series of vehicles, right? We've got the prepaid college tuition, which allows someone to lock in tomorrow's education at today's rate, right? Which is a fantastic deal that more than 20,000 Nevadans have taken advantage of. Through the 529 programs, which provide tax benefits to savings for college, to programs like the Millennium Scholarship, which have allowed thousands of Nevadans to go to college. In fact, I think it's probably one of the best programs we've ever come up with in order to increase educational opportunity. So our job is to manage those programs, to increase signups to those programs, which comes in the form of outreach, right? Making sure that we're out in the community, that people understand them. Financial planning is one of those things that is difficult enough for most people. So our job is to decrease barriers to entry. We want to make sure that people know about the programs.
So I remember, I think 3 predecessors ago,
Something
Brian
like that, yeah.
Krlicki, you know, when there was a big debate at the legislature. I mean, I remember him and Dina Titus and Barbara Buckley going back and forth on securitization of the money from the Master Settlement Agreement, because initially the Millennium Scholarship was all going to be paid, no tax dollars going into it. It was all going to be paid on the money that the tobacco companies were paying all they were paying Nevada, and, you know, paying all the states in like 97, 98, 90, sometime around then. That's no longer the case, right?
Yeah, so a couple of things have happened since then. The population in Nevada has obviously grown. We have more people going to college. It's a good thing. We also have fewer people smoking. That's also a good thing. But somewhere along the lines, the Millennium program started costing more than was coming in from the Master Settlement Agreement. And so we fund that program both from direct general fund dollars and out of the unclaimed property that the state collects and is unable to return to its owners. So we have a plan, a bill that's out there that will do two things. One, direct money directly from the treasurer's coffers, from the unclaimed property dollars, into the Millennium Scholarship, so that we don't have to have a budget fight every year. And our general belief, my general belief, is that we need to invest in Nevada 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. We need to agree that the state's still going to be there and start making investment decisions for a longer term. And that's one of the reasons why I ran. I think...
A little tough with a legislature, right? That you elect every other year, and a governor that has, you know, those priorities can definitely shift.
Of course, and I think, you know, everyone in the process is well-meaning and is going for the best thing for Nevada. And so my job, just like it always has been in the private sector, is to put forward a case, to make my case, that investing in this long term makes more sense than investing in it short term. Luckily, the numbers back us up, but it's also just the right thing to do.
So, okay, I want to get a little more, you know, into that.
Sure.
You know, what that would look like and, you know, where that revenue would be coming from. We are here with our brand new state treasurer, Zach Conine, talking about investments, talking about Millennium Scholarships, and we're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. And a lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are here with our state treasurer, Zach Conine, talking about the treasurer's office, what they do, and Millennium Scholarships. You know, that has been, you know, really, since I've been there, it seems like we have a debate, maybe not every session, but just about every session about Millennium Scholarships, whether it's eligibility or where the revenue is going to be coming from. So you've got a bill to address some of this. So really, it is to kind of give it some stability. So, what are some of the mechanics there, just so folks can kind of have an understanding?
So we see our goal as to fund things that the legislature and the governor think are good ideas, right? Because there are plenty of education experts, and I'm not one of them. That's not what I do. But what I do is make long-term investments for the stability of businesses, and in this case, for the stability of the state. So what we're trying to do is shift the revenues that come in from unclaimed property directly into the Millennium Scholarship. So it doesn't have to go through the general fund and the meat grinder of priorities, right? A situation where we just simply as a state have more need than we have resources. Nature of the beast. So by shifting that's the first part, right? And we don't have to fight over it every biennium. The second piece is to use the spillover, additional revenues that we generate in unclaimed property. Additional revenues we'll generate given my experience in the universe and the changes we're making to that department to make sure that people are complying with the law. We take those revenues and we fund an endowment. And so we spend a little bit more money over the next 10 years, but then we have an endowment that is just as stable as any other endowment at any major institution that pays for a program.
Sure, I mean, universities do this right now with
all the
scholarship
time.
Programs. Well, we do it at our Elks Lodge, which, hey, just by the way, just a little trivia for folks out there. Elks Lodge in the United States, number 2 in the amount of scholarships we give behind the federal government. So just wanted to, give a little BPOE love out there.
It's not bad for a quadruped. So, our goal is to say, if we like this program, let's fund it in perpetuity. Let's create a stable funding mechanism. And here's the other thing. Once we have that endowment set up, we'll be able to save the general fund or unclaimed property or any dollars that are going into that program, right? To the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in the decade following the decade it takes to set it up. But these are long-term investments, and like all other long-term investments, you're giving up a little bit of short-term opportunity for long-term. But that's what the Treasurer's Office does. That's what families around Nevada are doing every day when they're planning for college, right? Where they're choosing to put money in a 529 plan or a prepaid college tuition. If they're taking advantage of the College Kickstart program, which is $50 for every kindergartner in Nevada, and then using that to kickstart a 529.
It's putting money into your 401k.
It's putting money in your 401k.
Yes.
It's any other sort of investment.
Deferred gratification.
Right. And deferred gratification for future gain. And that is the goal of the Treasurer's Office, is to help everyone with the math.
That's a hard lesson to teach my kids. I think it's an even harder lesson for some.
we have a 5-year-old Ruby, right, who's pretty good at a little bit of deferred gratification. But the 20-month-old twins like Teddy and Ford, if you put something in front of Teddy, it's going to go in his mouth. Right? Food, remote control, Matchbox car, the dog.
It seems politicians, and I'm not just talking about Nevada, but generally, definitely on a federal level, I mean, that is a tough thing to get in terms of, enacting policy.
Yes, it's hard. All of this is hard, right? If this wasn't hard, it would have been done by generations of other people who had the same desires and goals that we all do, right? Like, no one is not creating long-term funding solutions because they're malicious, right? We just need to make the case, as everyone else who has bills before that deliberative body does, that our idea is more worthy of resources than another worthy idea. And that's okay. That's the nature of the thing.
Hey, I do like that. So let's talk about investments. When you make investments for the state, it's not like you can go and put money into, Facebook or Uber's IPO, right?
Yeah.
So, where are we investing our money? And I mean, what are you looking at to make sure that we are putting it in those secure places?
So first off, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we have an excellent investment staff who on a weekly basis is investing hundreds of millions of dollars of state money and doing so with very few accolades. And they have performed during Treasurer Schwartz's term, during Treasurer Marshall's term, they've performed amazingly relative to the market conditions they were faced with, right? So step one. This is not Zach sitting in front of a Bloomberg terminal and making these decisions in a vacuum. But we look for...
Do you have final say over anything, though? I mean, are you like giving the sign off like yay or nay? Or I mean, are there certain algorithms?
Paul, so there are controls within the system, right? So there are credit ratings that we look for underlying securities. Most of what the state invest in our treasury bills, treasury bonds. We're investing in large-scale issuances, things that have very, very little risk, and occasionally we'll invest in corporates or other vehicles to gain additional yield without taking on significant risk. This is a process that happens. It is a mechanical process. We adjust the process. The treasurer can adjust working with that team the process. What we don't do is trade, right? We're not sitting down there and saying, God, I got a real good feeling about that one. That's not how you run this kind of money. That's exceptionally dangerous. And no treasurer does that, both because there are statutory controls and because it would just be ragingly stupid. So those investments are made in incredibly secure vehicles where the risk does not really adjust the return at all. There are, we work with outside managers when it comes to the 529 plans to help create a series of investment choices for the individuals who are making decisions so that they can make the best financial decisions, whether it's adjusted based on age, right, to make sure they have the right risk profile, and we help give them those tools. We also have things like the Silver State Opportunity Fund, which allow us to make direct investments into business through a partner. And those are great kind of expansions of what we can do from a yield standpoint.
Some of the state business.
That's the goal.
Hey, Mr. Treasurer, thank you very much. Great
thanks for having
me on the show. Hey,
I appreciate it.
We're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Sam will be back next week talking to more movers and shakers here in the Silver State. I'm also going to be here talking with Joe Arduna of the National Council of Family Law Judges. That's next week on Nevada Newsmakers. Thanks for watching and listening.